Sports Central with Joe D and John Franchini on WICR.
Hey, John.
WICR.
Good afternoon. We're back with Maloney and Ricker. I'm Matt Ricker.
You gotta do the wheel. You need to do the moment in history or whatever.
What do you mean?
You have to do the thing on the wheel.
Yeah, no, we're back.
No, but you didn't do it. Give me.
We're on here.
You need to do a sports update or moment in history.
No, that's just an example.
No, you gotta do that.
Okay.
You're supposed to get a moment in history from there, and you have to go do the moment in history. Every 15, those things you have to do.
Hey, John. What'd you think of the Giants' run game?
I think the return of Brandon Jacobs really provided the Giants with a gritty, intimidating running game that they lacked with David Wilson, and I felt he had a good game.
A good game? Are you kidding me?
He scored a touchdown.
Brandon Jacobs in the backfield on 2nd and 5 off the fake to Jacobs. Manning now hits Jacobs out of the backfield, and Jacobs will take it in for a Giants touchdown.
You're gonna tell me 7 carries for 4 yards is helping the team?
Yeah, it was actually helping the team. It did more than David Wilson did when David Wilson fumbled the ball twice.
And an inside handoff as the Giants try to get something going on the ground. And Wilson gets taken down by Hayden, and the ball is loose, and it's buried.
This is WICR.
And welcome back to Maloney and Ricker. I'm Matt Ricker.
And I'm Bill Maloney. Matt, what do we have up next?
We have the race for governor of New York.
Sounds good. Matt, what did you think about the race for governor?
Yeah, I mean, as I said on Election Day, I voted myself. I voted for Rob Astorino.
Same here, first time.
Yeah, first time, and I liked it. It felt good to be part of the democracy and all that. But I was disappointed when I was looking at the statistics for the number of New York voters.
Only 32.5% of New York voters came out to vote. 3.7 million out of 10.9 million registered voters came out to vote.
Yeah.
And in the last 3 races for governor of the state of New York, you had 4.7 million in each race. Which, I mean, that in itself, it's pretty low. But still, a 1 million voter drop-off in a span of 4 years.
That's crazy. I mean,
yeah, no.
It's like.
And I mean, 400,000 people have left under Governor Cuomo because of his ridiculous policies.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, is it that bad? Did that many people leave?
Yeah.
Maybe Governor Cuomo actually is that bad. Anyways, if you look at the results, Astorino did lose, unfortunately. Governor Cuomo got 54% of the vote, and Astorino got 41% of the vote, and third-party minor candidates got the remaining 5% of the vote. But Astorino won the majority of counties in New York State. He took home 46 out of the 62 counties in the state. And if you look at it right there, I mean, basically, New York State can be broken up like New York City and the rest of New York State. Astorino and Cuomo, they split Long Island. Astorino did big out on Suffolk. Unfortunately, he lost out in Nassau County, and we'll talk about that later in Cuomo's backdoor deals with Ed Mangano and Dean Skelos, both from the island. But if New York City was not a part of New York State, or if it was a separate race, Rob Astorino would be governor of New York today, and he would have won by 3 points. He would have gotten 1.3 million, and Cuomo 1.2 million. 49 and 46, Astorino would have won. And right then and there, I think that you see a big gap in ideology and just voter attitudes here in New York State. And I mean, even in New York City, only 1 million voters came out to vote. In a city of approximately 9 million people, Only 1 million came out.
Yeah.
And that right there is very poor. And all these people, they talk about how they're sick and tired of the socialist agenda of de Blasio and Cuomo, how Cuomo's starting to give in to de Blasio, and also people saying all the bad things about Cuomo and de Blasio. But meanwhile, they don't come out and vote. Gun owners, there are 4 million gun owners in the state of New York. There are only 3.7 million voters in the race for governor in total. If you have half of the gun owners vote, you win the race. Astronaut wins the race. But people, this attitude that, oh, my vote doesn't count, or, oh, someone else will go vote and they'll make up the vote. No.
That's not true.
You
at
gotta
all.
make up the vote. You gotta be like Bill Maloney. You gotta be like Matt Ricker, and you gotta be like Maloney and Ricker, and you gotta vote. You gotta vote, right?
On election day, I was at Barnard School in the Rochelle at 6:30 in the morning, and
Yes,
you gotta make time.
Yeah, something that we take for granted, something that people think, oh, it doesn't matter. This is what people in other countries have wars over. This is what they kill their dictators over.
Yeah, I mean,
literally, they kill their dictators over, and we're here like, oh, do I really have to go do this? I mean, that's really the attitude by a lot of people.
I know it's a shame. I mean, because people take advantage of this civil liberty that we can't. That they don't go out and vote, and then they complain about the government today, and yet they didn't even vote.
Yes, and you have to look in New York City. New York City, if you want to win statewide, I believe that you have to cut the margin in New York City. And unfortunately, Astorino's campaign, they only got 23% of the vote in New York City. And I know that they were hoping for 30%, and some way, somehow, you got to find that way to close that gap. Obviously, a Republican for the most part, unless you're Rudy Giuliani or something like that. And I think that Rob Astorino is a better candidate than Giuliani, but obviously, when you're running for governor in New York, you just can't be campaigning in New York City always, so you don't have that time that Giuliani had. Yeah. But you gotta bridge the gap somehow. And political analysts and everyone, they were saying that for Astorino to win, he had to outperform Loda by a few points in the city. Now, Loda last year, he got 27, maybe 28% of the vote. And I mean, when you come up with 23% of the vote in a city so large that makes up about half the population of the entire state, it's very hard to win. It is very hard to win. So, a New York Post article came out the other day about Chairman Ed Cox, who I have met a few times and I've had the privilege of talking to. A very nice guy. And Chairman Cox was out in Queens with the former representative from Queens, Bob Turner, who I believe ran in the special election to go get Anthony Weiner's U.S. House seat after Weiner's scandal, and then he ran for U.S. Senate, I believe, in a primary, but he lost. Anyways, I mean, for the majority of the city, they didn't have a Republican state Senate candidate, they didn't have a Republican state Assembly candidate, they didn't have a Republican U.S. House candidate. So, while a Republican gubernatorial candidate obviously can't be in New York City always, though Astorino didn't make 18 trips, I believe, to the Bronx. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
While Cuomo was in
Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, sitting on beaches and living in presidential palaces for the summer and the fall, pandering and panicking. It was the Panic and Ponder tour. Yeah, double P, Panic and Ponder. So, anyways, what were we saying? Yeah, so when you don't have when you don't have people running for local office, or you don't have people running in smaller districts, then that really hurts the top of the ticket. Really, just like the other way around. Like Rob, he helped out a lot of people that were below him on the ticket. He helped a lot of people that were running for state senate. If Rob didn't campaign as well as he did in some areas, those people, they wouldn't be going to Albany in 2 months in January.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's the other side too. They got to go help out the top of the ticket as well. And so I applaud Chairman Cox for going out to Queens with John Katzimaldis, owner of Gristedes, and Bob Turner, was offered to be the Queens chairman, and they want to make inroads in the city, and that's ultimately what you have to do to win statewide. And you can't just write off a city so big. You just can't write off a demographic. Oh, they're Democrats, so they're minorities, so they aren't going to vote for me. No, you got to. It's the party of Lincoln. You got to go out to everyone, and you got to go shake everyone's hand, kiss everyone's babies, and try to get everyone's vote.
Yeah.
You got to talk to everyone. Mm-hmm. And, maybe if there was enough time, maybe if there was a few extra months, a few $1 million more, that was a big problem, then maybe we might have Governor Astorino today.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's not like that. And, all we can do is hope. And Astorino is mentioned as the front runner for 2018 for the GOP. But even then, Matt, you do have a heavy slate of candidates that might want to get the Republican nod, and there probably will be a primary, I think. And this year there wasn't a deep bench. Astorino really didn't have to go run with the fear of a primary.
Yeah.
I mean, there was talk of Trump and Palladino, but they weren't of any real concern. But now you got other people, and also it might be a different political spectrum than Governor Cuomo. He probably won't seek a third term. He even said, I was astonished. It's amazing that he would use this word. He was astonished to see how much work he accomplished in his first term. So he thinks he'll get everything he wants to get done in 2 terms. Matt, what are some people that are being mentioned as 2018 candidates from both sides?
Let's see. So it looks as though Astorino is the 2018 GOP frontrunner. Other potential candidates for the Republican nomination include Mark
Molinaro,
Dutchess County Executive Steve McLanigan, the Assemblyman from upstate, Joni Mahoney, Onondaga County Executive, and Representative Peter King, the Congressman from Long Island, and Harry Wilson, businessman from Westchester County, who ran for New York State Comptroller in 2010, but lost by only 4 points. Bob Antucci, Onondaga County Comptroller candidate for New York State Comptroller this election cycle. John Cahill, a candidate for New York State Attorney General this election cycle. Cuomo may not run for a third term, as we said, but may decide to run for president in 2016, more likely in 2020.
Now, on the Democratic side, it will be interesting if Cuomo does not run.
Yeah.
In 2018, there is talk of him actually running for president in 2016, but Hillary Clinton, she's just so out there, and she's just such a energetic candidate, and she has that background. She has the fundraising support at all levels, from the top to grassroots. So I don't see anyone really beating her in the Democratic primary, but the general election is a different story. So Cuomo, he may want to go wait, and suppose he's on a 6-year plan where he's going to go wait out. And this book tour, which I got somewhat famous from, it's a whole nother story, was supposed to launch off the 6-year plan. And even if you see he wants to travel to Italy, China, I believe France, and he's already gone down to the DR and Puerto Rico, and he's starting to discuss issues of foreign concern and national and global issues like working with New Jersey to make New York City safer and preventing terrorism. So he wants to get away from statewide politics, I believe, and he wants to get a larger scope of issues. Yeah. But it will be interesting to see the Democratic field. And you have Kathy Hochul, who she very well might be governor if Cuomo decides to leave for a position in the cabinet, or Cuomo goes to prison for federal indictment, like we've mentioned before. And but a lot of people in New York City are probably going to say, she's from Western New York, she is too conservative. The NRA, I believe, gave her a positive rating, and she's a Democrat.
Wow.
So that was a big concern to people on the left, to true liberals, and rightfully so. I mean, they didn't want someone that was going to be a moderate Democrat. Heck, I don't even like moderate Republicans that much. I was kidding, but I mean, we do like people that are the real deal. People that aren't going to be, doing things for political game, and people that are actually going to go state their beliefs. I know. I don't really see her as governor. Eric Schneiderman, current New York State Attorney General, AG in New York, has come to represent aspiring governor. Eric Schneiderman might become governor.
Christian Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer.
Well, back to the Attorney General and the aspiring governor thing. Governor Cuomo was Attorney General. Before him, Elliot Spitzer, the infamous governor, was also Attorney General. So that's definitely a launching pad to the governor's mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the two U.S. senators, Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand. And I personally, I don't see why they would leave the U.S. Senate. The U.S. Senate is much more powerful.
Yeah.
But now that they're in the minority in the U.S. Senate, and I mean, Kirsten Gillibrand I could see, and she might want to do it to become the first female governor of the state of New York. But Chuck Schumer, he's so powerful in the Senate.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, Gillibrand, she's mentioned as a presidential candidate one day. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they'll have to go calculate the political economy at the time. Then you got Mayor de Blasio. I think Mayor de Blasio will, honestly, I think he will have a hard time running statewide. Yeah. Because he's just so far to the left that, and I mean, that's even how it is for a Republican. If you're so far to the right, it's still kind of hard to win over everyone because the majority of people are in the middle.
Yeah. And
you gotta find someone that is gonna appeal to people in the middle, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they need moderate views. It just needs to mean that they can appeal to those people in the middle, and I don't think de Blasio has that crossover appeal.
Yeah. And
you also have Stephanie Meyer, Mayor of Syracuse. You have Hakeem Jeffries, and you also have Byron Brown, who was the first black mayor of Buffalo. But back to this campaign that I want to talk about. Cuomo spent over $40 million in negative campaign ads, and it's remarkable that Astorino only spending less than $5 million. That he was able to pull off of 41%, and right then and there, I mean, you look at it and you have to wonder if he had $5 million extra dollars. Yeah. It's Rob Astorino, governor of New York today, and one of his pollsters, Jim McLaughlin, said if we had another $3-4 million, I think that we might have Governor Astorino. But at the end of the day, we just didn't have those resources.
Yeah.
And there were groups like the NRA and gun groups. I mean, really, with the gun groups, they couldn't even register their voters. But they're out rallying by the Egg in Albany in freezing weather, and they're complaining about the Unsafe Act. If you really want to go solve this solution, then get out and vote. Governor Cuomo took away your rights. You have every right to go take away his job. But at the end of the day, they just couldn't fill out a piece of paper. And if I'm Rob Astorino, I am very, very, very upset with those gun groups. But also you have Chris Christie, lack of support from the RGA. And, it was disappointing to see that there wasn't full party support. It's disappointing to see that people like Dean Skelos and Ed Mangano, they were playing backdoor deals. But I believe Rob Astorino will be back in 2018. I do believe that he will have more money that time around. And I do believe that 4 years from now, there will be a governor by the name of Rob Astorino in the state of New York. And with that, we'll end this discussion, and we'll be back soon.